Are you struggling with Android navigation? What if I told you there are simpler ways to build seamless modern apps using Jetpack Compose and Hilt? Stick around because in the end of this video, we'll build a clean, functional mobile app step by step and you'll be mastering navigation in less than 40 minutes. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're diving into Android development with Jetpack Compose for the first time and wondering how to handle navigation the right way, you're in the perfect place. Today, I'll walk you through building a simple mobile app using Jetpack Compose and Hilt to demonstrate how navigation works. Whether you are new to these tools or you're looking to sharpen your skills, this video is for you. So, let's get straight into building our app. So it's going to be a very simple application just to demonstrate how we can use Hilt and Dagger to transition from one screen to another with simple animation at the end. I'm going to create a new empty Jetpack Compose application, which I'm going to call, let's say we're building a meditation app, for instance. So we'll just leave every other thing the way they are because we're not going to publish this app. So right here, our app is compiling and downloading all the Gradle dependencies that is required for this project. So we'll give that some time to finish up. So our app has downloaded all the necessary dependencies. So in this particular app, we're going to start with putting all our dependencies so that we don't have issues when we're trying to compile our app. First of all, I would like to upgrade the compiled SDK to 35 because we're going to be using KSP for this, and I don't want this to, KSP doesn't work well with compile SDK 34. So, and also I'm going to increase the Android version to 11. So we're going to make all these changes from the start so that we don't have issues when we're trying to compile our app. So I have this project where I've used the dependencies before so that I don't kind of bore you with that. I'm going to copy some of these dependencies from here and I'm going to put that in. Let's start from here. So I'll copy this and I'll try to paste that here and see, yeah. So this has copied. Don't worry about this. We're going to sort this out in a minute. So for we to change this, we'll go to copy the other Gradle plugins, the IDs for this, our build.gradle. There we're going to copy some other Gradles too for that. And these are the ones we'll need to copy here. So we'll copy that, then we'll paste them here. So, oh, that's not supposed to be there. So that's it for this part. Then down this in our dependencies section, we're going to also copy some other dependencies to make everything work very well. So we'll have some dependencies here. I'll copy all of them because we're going to use KSP, we're going to use Dagger Hilt as well. So once all these dependencies are all here, we won't have any issues with running our project. So I'm going to push this project to GitHub so that you can get your hands on it in case you want to practice along as well. So this is all the dependencies. Now let's go to the libs file. This libs file here, need to upgrade this AGP so to the latest version and also the Kotlin version. If you don't do this, you're going to have issues with the Compose compiler and these other dependencies that we've copied before. So it's advisable you update all this. So we'll have one more plugin here to include so that we can move on. We need this particular plugin. All right, so we've copied that. So we'll copy this. So we'll paste this here. Yeah, so once we have copied everything, I guess, see the error has gone for this one. Then here, the KSP needs to be installed for everything. So we'll sync that quickly so that our app is ready, we are now ready to build. So we don't have all those annoying errors that come when you're trying to build your project. I will ignore this for now. You see, all the errors have disappeared. So right now, we are ready to start building our app. So now we have just created all the dependencies that we need to build this project. Hilt dependencies are already here. So Hilt is a dependency injection library that is built upon Dagger so that you can avoid all those boilerplate code and creating classes that depend on each other, so that to avoid coupling of our project, which is why you are trying to implement clean architecture in your navigation, so that you don't have to write so many classes. And also it helps you provide standard way of applying dependency injection in your application. So it provides containers for every Android class in your project and managing their lifecycle automatically, so that when we start switching between screens, you won't have crashes and things collapsing, maybe not finding the right class, which maybe someone wants to move from one screen to another and you see the app crashes. So this is why dependency injection is very important. So when you are following the clean architecture, Hilt is a very good library to use for that. Now that we'll finish with that, I will close this up and we can start creating the important classes and composable files for our project. So here we're going to clean this up a little bit. This boilerplate that is already provided for us from our empty compose, we're going to clear all this off, and also these as well. So here we're going to leave everything like this, but for standard Android applications, you have your top bars, your bottom navigation, and the main section of the app. So that is why it usually comes up with this scaffold. But in this demonstration, we're not going to be focusing on that. We're just focusing on how you can implement navigation with Compose effectively. So we're going to change this to surface. But before we do that, I would like to create another composable file, which I will call the meditation app. So it's going to be fun. So in this composable, we're going to copy the theme which we already have here, which is this meditation. I'm going to cut this out, then paste it here. So once we cut that off, I will change this to surface, so that because we're just going to just add a simple text on this screen, though the splash screen we're going to do some animation, but we'll get to that later. So right here, just stick with me, we're going to cut this off, surface. Okay, so in this surface we're going to add some modifications. We'll add some modifier. We're going to add the fill max width, so that it covers the whole max size, so that it covers the whole screen. We're going to set a column, because that column is what we're going to use to display the simple text that I told you we're going to use. So in that column, we want to center the text in the middle of the page. So we're going to vertical arrangement. We'll set arrangement to the center, and also the horizontal alignment, to center alignment to center horizontally. So that's done now. We'll come back to this later. So let's just move on. So we can all easily call meditation app up here, and that will be set for now. Okay, so now that we've set our main activity, we're going to, because we're going to use Hilt, so let's create the Android application class, and we're going to annotate that with Hilt Android. It triggers the code, Hilt's code generation. So all those boilerplate codes that we have avoided using Hilt, so Hilt will just create that on the background. So let's create that now, and we're going to create that as part of this, our main package. So we'll create an application class. So it's going to be a Kotlin class. Let's call that this meditation application. So this is going to be our class, and that class is going to inherit from the Android application. That's done. So here we need to annotate that with Hilt Android app. Yes, that's from the Dagger Hilt. Okay, this is a class. So this is done. So this is our entry point, like that is going to initiate Hilt to generate those code for us in the background. So at this point we are done with this, and because we have created this Android application class, we need to go back to our main activity, and here we need to annotate this as the app entry point so that we can tell Hilt that this is the entry point to our app. So it's going to be Android entry point. You see that? So with this now, this Android meditation application class, once it is triggered by Hilt, we will now locate our main activity as the application entry point, so which we're going to finalize later. And now that we've done this, we'll go to our manifest file and also add the name of our Android app, which is the meditation application. So that's done. So I'm going to close this up. So now we're going to create the navigation class. So because we're using clean architecture here, I'm going to create a package, 2 packages for this simple demonstration, which we are going to be using. So I'll call this navigation, and also I'll create one more package, and I'll call this screens. So this is just like the presentation layer, which is our screen. Start with the screens. We're going to create an enum class that is going to, for separation of concerns, that is going to house our screen. It's an enum that is going to just different screens we have on our app. So in case our app begins to grow and expand, we can also create these classes without any stress, and these classes will become different screens or different composable files. So we're going to create that with the enum class, and we're going to call this meditation screens. So that's going to be our enum class. So, and the classes we want in this app, we might not use some of them, but for illustration's sake, let's start with the splash screen. We'll have a main screen as well. Let's just add about screen, and lastly settings screen, which is the basic. So these screens are going to, this enum class and the screens we're setting here are going to be the route. So it's just like your web application. When you're trying to switch from the home page, for instance, to the about us screen, you use these tags. So that is what this enum stands for. You use this tag to locate each screen during our navigation activities. So now this is done. We are done with this enum class. So we'll close that up so that we don't clutter the page with too many tabs. So right here now, we're going to create the navigation, our navigation class. We're going to add that to this navigation package. Okay, so here, what do we call this? Let's call this meditation navigation, just simple name to show what it is for. So we'll call this meditation navigation, and it's going to be a composable file, not a class. So here we're going to define our nav controllers that is going to control and host each of these screens. So first of all, we'll declare a variable called nav controller, which we're going to be calling in each individual composable file or classes that we're going to form later in this application. So, and it's going to be assigned to remember nav controller like this. So once we have done that, now we can call our NavHost. Now that we have created our nav controller, we'll call our NavHost, and the nav controller parameter is going to call the nav controller that we have already created up here. Then our start destination, let's say our start destination is going to be our splash screen, right? So here we're going to call the meditation screen. So meditation screens, which we have already created, we'll call the splash screen, which is the start destination where we want our app. Once the user downloads the app, this is the first screen they see, like a welcome screen, for instance. So, and we'll set this to .name right here. So now our NavHost is ready. So we are now going to create our nav graph, which is going to be serving us these screens or pages, for instance, when we need them. So down here we're going to call a composable, because we are using route. So we're going to call a composable file, which is going to give us our screens, because our screens, the screens we're creating are going to be composable files, because that is what is required when you are using Hilt for your navigation controller. So here we're going to just call our meditation screen, which we created initially, and again we'll call the splash screen .name, right? So like I told you, it's just going to be a link, a tag that we'll use to find the screens we are looking for. So here in the navback stack entry, now we're going to now call the actual composable file or the class that we've already created. So here I will have not created this initially. I will call this meditation app splash. Let's put it that way. I think that sounds like a usable name. So now when we create this file, this composable file, which is going to be one of our screens, we'll call the nav controller, because with this nav controller we can find that particular screen in our nav graph. So now I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come to our screens, and I'm going to create that. So it's going to be a Kotlin file. Then we'll paste that here. Then once we create that, we need to import that here. Okay, can't find it here because we have not called the nav controller and we have not created the composable yet. This, and also the parameter is going to be the call the nav controller here. Then, and this is, let's just add a simple text to show, say welcome to splash screen. So now that our controller our composable have been, so now we can now import this here. So you see everything now looks fine. So our navigation class has been created. So each time we create a new Kotlin file or composable file, we can just come and add that composable here. Like we'll just duplicate this and create another one. So let's say we want to go to the main screen, for instance. So here we'll just change this to main screen. So once we change that to main screen, then we can also call this meditation app main. Let's do that quickly. So now we also need to create this composable so that everything will be fine. You see how easy it is for we to multiply our screen without any stress. So here we'll create another file, another Kotlin file, and we call that meditation main. So, and also don't forget to create a composable so that everything will be in sync. So it is going to be form, then meditation main, and also don't forget to call the nav controller again as the parameter. So once we set that up, and we just add a dummy text again just to show welcome the user. So we'll call this welcome to main. So now we've created two composables and we have created our nav controller. We can now import this here and everything. So this is how we keep creating more screens as the need be in our app, and which makes it very simple and easy. Instead of if you if you have been coding in Java before, you understand how you create these classes, create the XML file, create the fragments and all that, and you link them up and now create the lifecycle view model and all that. But now Hilt will do that for you in the background, and you don't need to stress, so you just focus on the main thing or the business logic of your app. Let's quickly run this and see if we're going to see anything. So you see what I'm saying? The screen is blank now because you have annotated the main activity to be the app entry point. So when it gets to this main activity, it doesn't have knowledge of any other screens or composables in our app, you see. So that is why separation of concern is important, and using Hilt so that your app can be segmented and for security and scalable reasons. You see, the app runs fine, but it doesn't know anything about any other screen until we call this meditation navigation that we've already created here, until we call this in our main screen before we can actually see anything here. No, meditation navigation, that's the one. So now that we've called this here, so you see the way the whole app is linked from the Android application that we created and annotated with Hilt. Then Hilt goes to the main, it creates that, and it goes to the main activity to find the other screens. So this main activity now, because we've called this in here, it goes to this meditation navigation composable to find any other link to any other screen. So now see, if we rerun this app now, we're going to see that dummy message that we put on the splash screen. Where's the splash screen? Yeah, this dummy text now, welcome to splash screen. You see that? So that's how Hilt works in applications. So now that we've created this, you have seen how the navigation works from the first start to where we are now. So now the next thing we need to do is to create some animation, like the way this text came out here. We want to create an animation in such a way that once the user sees this splash screen for some seconds and some glow animation, it goes back and leads us to the main screen, right? I hope this is making sense to you. So that is the next task now that we're going to implement. So this is our splash screen, and we want to create some kind of features to make it look presentable like a full-blown app, right? So, and to achieve that, we are going to use Compose, Jetpack Compose, which we have been using. And here we're going to use the surface again. So surface, why I use surface is that surface gives you a lot of flexibility to customize your UI as you wish. We're going to set our padding. We'll set our padding to 15.dp. Yeah. Then also we'll set the size. I want to create kind of a circle, so I want to set the size to 300.dp. so I need to import dp here. Again, we need to set the shape because I want to create a circle shape. So, and also I want to set a color for that, and I want the color to be just white. So, and also I'm going to set a border to make it distinctive in case there is another background, maybe there is white background. So, and that borders, you will have to include this border stroke, which is going to include a color and a width, right? Or you can use the brush instead of color. So that is, we'll set this, and if we set the preview, you'll be able to see what we're doing. But let's get on with it and finish up, then run the app for you to see what we've actually done. Okay, so here, down here, I want to put some elements inside the circle that I've already created, and I'm going to use column. I want to put an icon, then an image, a text, like a welcome text for the user. Okay, so we use column to do that. So in this column, I'm going to set the padding. I'll set this to 1.dp, and also I want to set the horizontal alignment because I want it to be in the middle. Then alignment, I want it to be centered horizontally, and vertical arrangement, and I want to put that in the center as well. So with that, our column is set. So all the elements we're going to be putting in this column now is going to be put in the center. So now I want to use the image. So we're going to use the penta image. Okay, that's the image. So this image, I'm going to copy it and go to my. So I'm going to my Android Studio and go to the resource folder here, and to this drawable, I'm going to paste that here. If I copied it, yeah. So I've copied it. So you can see it's just a simple icon that shows someone meditating. Close that up. So here we're going to use Penta resources here. So on the we're going to use r dot drawable to locate the icon. But we'll need to import r first of all. Okay, we'll import the class r. Then now we can find our meditation icon, right? So here we need to, if you download this icon from Flaticon, you need to acknowledge the developer, so you can include their link here, or you copy it from Flaticon. But because I missed that out, I will just use this. This is also important for people that are visually impaired, and say meditation icon, so that they will know what the icon is about. Okay, so that is our image that we've imported. So here I want this image to actually fit, so I will set content scale. So I will set that to fit. Then also I will also set the size of our image, because I think this image is up to 500 by 512 to 512. So, and you remember the total size of our circle is 300 dp, which is conflicting. So here we use modifier to reduce the size of our icon, and I will set this to 95.dp as well. Then also I'll add some bottom padding, because we're going to be adding some text on that. So I'll set that bottom padding to 10.dp, so that there will be some ample space between the icon and the text. So under here we're going to set the text. Let's call it deep meditation. I don't know, that's the only thing that came to my head right now. So with the text on that should be deep meditation. And also we're going to try to style this text. So styling the text, I will set the text style to, I will set it to material theme. I don't want it to be too big or too small, so I'll set this to material theme. Yeah, so the typography, I want this to be title medium. Where are you? So I want to set it as title medium. Then also I want to set the color to blue. I think blue goes well with meditation, does it? I don't know. So let me set this to blue. So now if we run our app again, you're going to see everything that we've done, and let's do that quickly and see the progress we're making. right? You see that? So this is our splash screen now. You see the changes that we've made. It's looking well nice now. It's looking nice and clean, right? Isn't it? So let's add a simple animation for this app to glow. So we're going to do that by, we're going to create a scale. We want our app to scale in, out, and scale back, right? So we're going to do that with, from here, we're going to create a variable that we'll call scale, and we're going to assign that to remember. So in this remember, we're going to use animatable. Yeah, that's it. That's the right one. Animatable. Yeah, that's it. So this animatable, we're going to set it to 0f, so which is the initial value. So meaning that once this app launches, this scales down to 0, so we won't see anything, then it comes back up. Okay, so now that we've created this, we need to import something, and that is what? Okay, Android. Okay, that's fine. So that's cool now. So now that we have created our variable scale, we're going to also use launched effect to determine what's going to happen once the app is launched and it's scaled to 0. So we're going to call launched effect here, and the key, we're going to set this key to true. Then also our block, which is a suspend function. So here we're going to use lambda. So, and in this lambda, the block, we're going to use the scale, set the scale that we've already created. So dot animate, so it's going to animate to, so the scale is already 0. So what is the target value we want it to animate to? So we'll set the target value to 0.8f. So we want it to grow to like 80%, then scale back. So to scale back, we use animation spec for that, and we're going to set that to twin. So the twin, now here we're going to use duration in milliseconds. How long is it going to, this scale going to last? So it's duration in milliseconds. We want it to last for like 800 milliseconds. Then the easing, we want it to ease out. So, and we're going to use lambda for this as well. So now we want to call an overshoot. So the easing is going to overshoot, meaning that it's going to scale beyond its boundaries. Yeah. So now we're going to call overshoot. Overshoot interpolator. So this overshoot interpolator is still set to our 8f. So now we're going to get the interpolator and set it to the IT that we've already created. Get interpolation, then set it to IT, which is the original float that we've already created. So with that, so I think I imported the wrong launched effect. Yeah, I included the lambda, so it's a closed one. So we have set this up for it to animate and ease out and ease back. So as you can see, we just set the target value to this, and we initialize this value to 0 before. So then how long is it going to last when it's scaled, which is 800? Then easing, want it to overshoot. So overshoot by, the tension is 8, like 80%. So, and we'll call get interpolation. So let's rerun our app and see if that's working yet. Okay, yeah, my bad. Here I'm supposed to call the scale, which we have already created up here. So for this animation to take effect, we will need to add the scale down here. So in our modifier, so we're going to call that scale dot scale. So, and we're going to set it to the scale that we've already created, and that's going to be scale dot value here. So once that is called, then this animation can be effective on what we have created already. So let's see if that works. You see the animation now. You see that. So now the next stage, what happens once this animation happens? We don't want to stay here forever, right? So we need to move to the main screen. So which is how we're going to do that, by simply, because we've set up our hilt and our navigation before, and we've also created that main screen already, we don't have much work to do here. We just call delay. How long, once it goes back, how long do we want this to delay for? So this delay, we're going to set it in time milliseconds, and we're going to set it to like 2000 milliseconds, and this is going to be a long. So once it's delayed for that 2000 milliseconds, then we'll call navigation controller, which we have set up initially, then navigate. Which screen do we want to navigate? We'll call our meditation screen to find the particular screen we want to move to, which we've done here. Then we want to move to the main screen. So once we do that, dot name. So with that, once our app is launched and the splash screen animates and wait for another 2000 milliseconds, it now takes us to the main screen. Let's see how that works in practice. Yeah, you see that delay. So it says welcome to main. So this is now, we are now in the main screen. Let's go to that main yeah. So it says welcome to main. So it takes us to this screen. So this is simply how you can set your app using clean architecture and Hilt to actually achieve navigation seamlessly with Jetpack Compose. And I hope this helps you. So if this helps you, hit that like button and also subscribe for other demonstrations that we'll be bringing your way on this channel. And don't forget to share it with your friends who are still learning Android. And I hope you have learned